We just watched The Meetings of Anna by Chantal.
No, hey guys.
No, doesn't feel like it.
I'm very interested. What?
By Chantal Akerman. So Mark has seen this once before. Mm-hmm. This is my first time watching it. And I gotta say, this is not the right film to watch after Avengers Infinity War.
Not the right film?
Definitely not.
You didn't, did this not sit with you?
I'm giving this the same rating I gave Jean Diamant. It's 4 stars, and mostly due to appreciation.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe it'll be better on a rewatch somehow. I'm gonna button this up because this is weird. But, yeah. It was slightly hard to sit through.
Yeah, it didn't help that it was hot as hell the whole time.
Exactly.
These films, you suffer through them. That's just how it works.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very much, you bring with it, the experience you have is sort of like what you bring with it.
Right.
It's interesting. This rewatch was completely different than my first watch.
Yeah.
My first watch was urethral. This time was much more like meditative.
You mean ethereal?
Yeah, ethereal.
Urethral.
Urethral. Is that even a word?
No. Urethra is.
Urethra. Yeah.
It's a body part.
It was not. I know. No. It's not a urethra.
No. Cool.
Yeah. It's very much. One is I just love the style of filmmaking, and of course, you have to be in a certain mood to really get a lot out of it. But
it got quite a bit out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that this film feels more personal to her than Jean Diamant, which is something different.
Yeah, it feels almost autobiographical.
Exactly.
Because the main character is a filmmaker who travels and who is also lesbian, most likely. And
spoiler.
Yeah. Oh well.
I think
that is a little bit of a spoiler.
That's going a little far. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to say it's autobiographical suggests that that's kind of what. Yeah. Whatever.
Right. Well, some people might not know who Chantal Akerman is, and this might be the way.
No, true.
To
Yeah.
And then they look her up and they see the parallels. So I'd like to keep it under wraps until we go into spoilers.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. It's pacing is very deliberate. And I'm glad that she makes films like the way she does. And there were moments that stood out. For sure. But I guess in this case, I like films that meander often, but I guess this is a case where either I'm not sure if it's my mindset or if it's just I don't do well with her films. But the fact that I couldn't sense when it's coming to a close actually made it much harder to watch.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are times where it's really working on its own time.
Yeah.
And it's just, it can be very hard to get absorbed.
Yeah, this felt twice as long as Infinity War.
Oh, really?
And Infinity War is a half an hour longer. Yeah. But that's how movies work. Yeah, her films are very depressing.
Well, yeah.
And I kind of got that with Jean Diamant. But I think with this film, just watching it, the depressing undertone was really prevalent for me. Yeah.
The first time I watched this, the aftertaste I got was actually very uplifting.
Yeah.
Since it was sort of like what's the right word? Like a cathartic experience.
I see. I can see this being a cathartic experience. And there's definitely stuff that people could just relate with. Yeah. Or just being put under this viewpoint that is very special, and I think that is the strongest thing. Like, she definitely uses the camera as just a way to, like, give audiences her perspective of what it's like to be this woman. And oftentimes the framing will tell you a lot about what's on her mind. Like sometimes she'd be off center and there'd be another object on the side and on the other side, and that that would imply like what's going on in her mind, what she's thinking of. She's actually thinking about like the outside, or that object specifically, like a telephone or other things. Yeah.
It's similar to like listening to a Steve Reich piece or a Terry Riley thing, to me.
I can see that.
Because it's so minimalistic in its style. And
yeah, but with Steve Reich, it feels like what makes it interesting for me is the moments of change within the...
Oh, well, yeah, that's how Steve Reich works.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the moments of
change. But this film, it doesn't, it's, there is no big moment of change. Like, it's not, it just kind of puts you in this experience. And I'm just like I kind of know where the film is going, like, because of the title of the movie. Like, after the first maybe 30 minutes or 45 minutes, it's hard to tell where the runtime is with everything. But it's after 45 minutes, it's pretty easy to tell what the rhythm of the film is. Yeah, and how the film kind of operates to keep it vague. Yeah.
It's also hard to talk about it right afterward because it's so hypnotic.
Well, I don't know if there's much to say.
Sort of like
there's not much to say spoiler free. Yeah, the film definitely made me want to close my eyes, not in a way where I can't even open them back, like I'm totally falling asleep, but it does put me in a very relaxed. Maybe it's the heat too.
The heat. Oh my god, it's so we don't have AC.
Yeah, and we live on the second floor, which
so
means
hot.
all the hot air comes up here. Yeah. So this is the film.
Yeah. We
should just that experience this reminded me of, just because it focuses on the female protagonist, and this is totally different. There's nothing I can think of that really compares to Chantal Akerman's filmmaking. I mean, I recommend John Diamant, 1080 Brussels, and it's clear that Brussels is this place that matters a lot to her, because she talked Brussels is at least mentioned in both films.
It's where she grew up. The filmmaker, yeah.
But it might not be too out of the blue to recommend Cleo from 5 to 7.
I can see that.
Yeah, even though that's a film I enjoy way more. Yeah.
Yeah, the reason I watched this film is because I was in a slow cinema class. And this film, along with Cleo from 5 to 7, were two films that were assigned to be watched over the semester.
Oh, but this makes Cleo from 5 to 7 look like a fast film.
Yes.
This makes Cleo from 5 to 7 look like Speed. Yeah, I wish I can be more excited about having seen this movie, but maybe it's just the juxtaposition with Infinity War. It just leaves me at a state where I think I could have enjoyed it more had I been in a different state.
Yeah, a movie like Infinity War is very much set up to give you a lot.
Yes.
In this film, it shows you and doesn't give you anything. It sort of leaves you to make your own.
Yeah.
What you will of it, because it's so bare. Yeah.
Yep. But if you want to know what the film is about, it's very much the female experience, and a woman who has decided to pursue the arts instead of maybe go the traditional route of what was expected in the 1970s. And you see the people she interacts with and how it reflects her own insecurities.
That sums it up okay, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Should we go into spoilers?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let's go into spoilers. I find it very interesting how with every conversation she has, it gets to a point where the other person is just rambles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, there are a few times where she rambles, but she only does it once.
Well, she does it with her mother.
That's the only time.
Yeah, and we see a dimension of her that I wish you didn't spoil in the non-spoiler section.
Yeah, I feel a little bit bad, but I mean...
Yeah, because that the moment I saw that scene, it definitely lifted something.
I guess I'm usually really like I pay attention to spoilers and don't say like that, but I think I sort of like felt okay to say that. Retrospect, I shouldn't have, but because this is such like integral with the filmmaker, and like. I almost wonder if she expects there to be an expectation that she is
No.
I don't know.
That's so egotistical of her.
It is, but okay, that's probably not the case. But that was kind of what I went in my first time seeing it, so I guess I sort of have that preconception.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, with
Well, especially if you recommend this film to a modern audience.
Well, that's very hard to do.
Well, yeah, that's
the nature of this film.
That's why I'm saying, like, if someone stumbles onto this channel, I don't know, that's definitely something I wouldn't like reveal, because this is a film about just seeing new layers of, and because so much of the movie is her listening to other people. It comes as a surprise when she finally is able to ramble and rant. And that is just such a fascinating layer. Yeah. But that's that. It seems like I don't know the year that the Berlin Wall fell, but it seems like that whole Berlin post-war mindset is very, very, like, especially with the first two people she talks with.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, there's a heavy undertone of just how the war has affected them. Yeah. That's great. It's very great. I really like the ending of it.
The final scene's probably my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love, like, how it's set up is very, very cool. Like, she reaches for it, and you don't know if it's the end. And she plays with that.
Well, I didn't think that scene was going to be the last scene.
Well, yeah, there's always that.
Right, I had no idea. I'm just like, this is just another scene.
Yeah, well, I guess, I don't mean like the end of the film, but like the end of the scene.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Nah, I think it really just, she has so many voice messages. So it makes me wonder, like, how long has she been gone? And the Daniel dude is like someone she's seeing clearly, but what kind of relationship are they really in? I don't think it's ever really established, is it?
No.
Oh, and I like that she almost becomes a mother for Daniel, like going all the way to like taking a cab or something to the pharmacy and then coming back. It's like that. Yeah, she's almost afraid that, I don't know, just the motherly instinct coming out.
There's a lot about the mother relationship here.
Yeah. But it's also her relationship about, like, settling down and having children. And how that, maybe that's a way she could just deal with it. And maybe Daniel is a special enough person that it goes beyond what she says, where she, like, just sometimes takes a guy home during her travels. Like, Daniel's clearly someone that she's seen more than once. And it's nice to see her, go the extra mile to care for him. Yeah. I like that. I think it was very weird that she, like, stripped naked in front of her mother and slept with her mother in the same bed.
The whole situation of them getting a room is very weird.
Yeah.
Like,
at first, it was definitely a little confusing. I'm like, are they going to go there? But at some point, it became so clear that by the time she laid her head on the mom's shoulder, I completely knew that this was a mother-daughter relationship. I didn't think that, this was going to develop into something incestual.
Incestual, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in this style of filmmaking, it's like so obvious what it's sort of like implying, right? And I think it's like very, very aware that it's implying that. It's
well, but also with your European cinema of the time, there's so much of cinema does deal with that, and so there's probably an awareness going in when she made it. So I really like the opening scene, how it's the train station. Yeah, I
like the first shot.
The first shot is immediately striking.
Yeah, I love the first shot. As soon as I saw the first shot, I was like, I'm in for a good time. This is gonna be nice.
I thought the same thing, but the time wasn't as good for me. But it's cool that it starts with the train station and she just kind of appears as just another person, but then it ends with like her being in her room and listening to her voice message until her travels begin again, until her next tour begins. Yeah, and it's cool that the film centers around the people she meets instead of like us actually getting to see like at the beginning her film screening, because that's not what matters.
Yeah, we never.
And we don't even know how she meets the first guy. I'm assuming it's just someone who went to see her film and maybe said hi to her afterwards.
Oh, the very first guy?
Yeah.
Oh, he was a reporter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, and I could tell just from, I mean, everybody's faces, they don't emote much in this movie, but there's so much that you can see.
Yeah.
For example, the female friend that she chats with, the second person, you can tell that Anne is a little bit uncomfortable. But then with the next person she talks with, which is the dude on the train where they stop and stop and stop and go, like he's saying a lot, but you can tell that she's quite comfortable with him. So I really like how that's maybe just through the framing and through the very meticulous shots. It's just so much. It's not your case of like a Yorgos Lanthimos.
No,
Yeah, or I find it even more emotive than a Hanukkah sometimes. It just feels, it doesn't feel like it's deadpan for deadpan's sake.
Yeah. That's very true. What really gets across to me is like, it's sort of like communicating through context. Because like, a lot of it is like, they're sitting there and you're not seeing anything. But because the shot's so long, and also like the fact that they go and they eat dinner, but then like we cut to a shot saying, I'm not very hungry anymore. And then they leave. Like just the act that they do that sort of absurd thing communicates. And they do it sort of not really emoting to you. Like communicates a ton.
Right. Yeah, I think so. Oh, I should have recommended this, but I was going to recommend Vivre sa vie by Godard.
Which one was that? Is that the one with the whispering coffee cup?
We didn't see that. You didn't see that.
Oh, this is the one you started off with.
Yes.
Oh, I remember you having a difficult time with that film.
Yeah, I had a difficult time with it, but it just thinking about Cleo and this film, like Vivre sa vie is something that's definitely similar, where it follows one woman and kind of just her odyssey into something, I won't say.
Follows one woman on her travels. How about the Gleamers?
No, the Gleaners and I?
Gleaners and I.
No, this is different.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, it did remind some of the more philosophical talks about just like more mortality and stuff did remind me of just the Godard approach, especially in 2 or 3 Things I Know About Her, which is the coffee cup movie. You never finished that.
No, I didn't.
But that movie is all about morbid stuff and mortality. And this just feels like a more drawn out and I guess not as experimental as Godard would be with a subject like that, but it does remind me of the way Godard approaches that type of dialogue, even though I'm only reading subtitles. But the way Akerman deals with that type of dialogue definitely reminds me of Godard more than it does a Tarkovsky, or there's someone else I was thinking of, but I can't remember. how someone else would deal with that type of talk. So
yeah, something else that's done a lot in this type of filmmaking, but especially in Akerman, is the poetry of it, which we sort of lose with not speaking French.
Yeah.
But there are times when I do speak German. There are times when German is spoken, and like if you remember when English suddenly comes out of nowhere, how striking that is.
Yes.
I imagine there are a few times with the same is done in other languages, and also with the accent, the kind of accent things that people speak and how they speak the French, and something you do notice is like every time she says "muy," it's very different, and like almost like the short dialogue and like how that's the
true.
spacing between everything.
Yeah, and I could kind of sense it, but obviously, like watching these foreign films, that's definitely something that's just missing from my limited knowledge of languages.
Yeah, something I learned from the class is that it's actually like very meticulous how the language is used, and like there's certain contradictory things in how it's written sometimes.
Oh, really?
And yeah.
Cool.
So I get lost in the translation.
Yeah. Did the ending imply that she was suicidal? I think it did.
Like she was gonna kill herself right then and there.
When she opened the window.
Oh, I didn't.
Walking out of it.
I didn't see that, but I can totally understand that you might think that.
Yeah, it reminds me of how do I not spoil this? Because this is okay. It reminds me of a recent Polish film.
Oh, I know what film you're talking about.
That has gotten acclaim and recognition.
Yeah, it's not that. I think it was more... Oh, sorry, did you have more to say?
No, that's it.
Yeah, I think it's actually... She opens a window 3 times in the movie. One at the beginning in the first hotel room. The second time is in the train, and third time is in this room.
Okay.
Yeah, it might be more times when she opens a window. But like if you notice, like something the reason I remember so strongly is because they're so striking to me, being that she opens it and then we suddenly hear this very thick soundscape of the outdoors.
Yeah.
The first time it's
I love striking. The first time. Yeah. That was still when I was really, really engaged in the movie. But I guess at some point it just
it's very, very demanding, this film.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. In a way. Is it more demanding than Jean? No, it's in the same level as Jean Dielmans.
I mean, Jean Dielmans is 3 hours.
3.5 hours.
3.5 hours. Yeah. And also is something that I just realized now. Both films are what is the word?
Cyclical?
Yeah, cyclical. Where, Jean Dielmans, this isn't the biggest spoiler, but the way it's formed is you go through the same day. Here, it's cyclical in that she meets a person, then she meets a person, then she meets a person, and she meets a person.
That's true.
Yeah, it's
yeah. But for some reason, this was hard to sit through. I don't know why. Yeah. I think with Jean Dielmans, I was ready. I was in the mindset.
We approached that as a challenge because that was on our long film expedition, and exactly. We knew the reputation the film had.
Right. Yeah.
And with this, it's all right, it's Akerman, let's go. We kind of knew what we were getting into, and.
Yeah, well, but I made the mistake of going to the theater to see Infinity War. And a part of me, actually, the reason I'm not, smiling much in this review was, I don't think I should have done that. Because I want to sing more praise about this movie, but my experience of it is just so...
We'll watch next film on our long film list and be more, ready for it. Because that's also in the similar style, if I remember.
We'll see. I don't know. I doubt it might not be in the similar style. I mean, it could be equally slow, but I feel like when we're talking style, we can't. I've never seen anything from.
That's true. Director. There's nothing like Akerman.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, something else that's interesting. I think we talked about this because in class, we talk about it and stuff, right? Briefly, the movie. Is sort of how distanced, the way the characters act. Like Lanthimos is an interesting parallel because he's also a director who treats his actors where they sort of act off. In this film, the actors also act off, but it's much more subtle. It's much more just acting off because they're not giving anything, and it really goes against the very serious topic matter that they're discussing.
Well, it's not just that.
And also, it's also the absurdity of how they go into the things they talk about. And
I don't even think it's absurd.
Oh, to me, it's kind of absurd.
Really? No, for me, it seems more like they're just going against that really over-sentimental approach of, like, mainstream filmmaking.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah. It's just... It feels more like reading a book in a way, like a visual sort of... You're just reading words. But because the words can have, can be shaped by the context of different things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can end up being very emotional. Yeah. Even despite the detachment. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm done.
I'm really hot.
Yeah, I'm not.
I'd love to go downstairs and just.
Really, I'm not even hot anymore. I'm just. Yeah, I mean, I'm sweating, but I'm just like, I want to. Yeah, this film. Talking about this film cooled me down. Nice. Like I don't feel hot anymore. Huh. Yeah, that's the movie. Guess you win some, you lose some. Am I right? All right.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye.